You're welcome to News from the States, where we bring a report on key developments across Nigeria's 36 states. I am Adebanke Udunui, and we begin with the Niger Delta, where a critical conversation on public health and environmental justice is taking place in the region. Key players believe that unattended oil spills increase the effect of fossil fuel pollution in the region. Joseph Kunde has details.
The Niger Delta has long been the epicenter of Nigeria's oil wealth. But residents argue that they have paid the highest price in terms of health and environment.
In respect of our chief,
This meeting comes in the wake of alarming findings by the Bayelsa State Oil and Environmental Commission. Organizers say this meeting is not just about raising awareness, it will focus on advancing health research and driving policy engagement to protect communities most affected by oil exploration and spills.
Whether government or major oil corporations are blaming the communities, that does not exonerate them from remediating the damage that they have caused to the ecosystem and the consequences of that damage to the people. We are talking about the health consequences, and it is all of us.
What we want to do is advance the work of the report. The report did so much, but that is not all that can be done. How can we bring together stakeholders, both within Bayelsa, beyond Bayelsa, and further afield, to work more in these areas around research, but also how can we bring relief to the people who are impacted daily by the oil pollution.
The International Working Group, Social Action and Health of Mother Earth Foundation brainstorms on some recommendations against fossil fuel pollution.
It's a call on the federal government to implement the recommendations of the Bayelsa Commission report. Those recommendations are very clear. Unfortunately, we have not seen an appreciation by the federal government of the gravity of the situation.
We're not blind for the multiple causes, but really at its heart, we believe that the oil companies who've benefited so much from oil extraction really need to be the ones responsible for paying for the pollution their activities have ultimately caused, either directly or indirectly.
The meeting aims to bridge the gap between research and action, pushing for stronger policies to safeguard lives. Joseph Kunde, TVC News, Yenagoa.
Joseph Kunde joins me now. Joseph, in your report, you mentioned that the Bayelsa State Oil and Environmental Commission made some findings. What exactly did the commission find, and how have those findings been received by the oil companies and also the federal government?
Banke, it has been very worrisome because of the details or the data that was released during the findings. First off, it was documented for over 6 years of oil pollution in Bayelsa State, where 25% of the oil spills in Nigeria between 2006 and, of course, 2020 was alone from Bayelsa, about 3,500 spills in total, and it tells you a whole lot about the pollution that happens in Bayelsa State. Toxicology audits also revealed that we're dealing with a lot of high rates of cancers, stunted growths, and infant mortality. And the worst case scenario was the fact that they have told us that the expectancy rate of the average Bayelsan is 50 years. In other words, when you live about 50 years in Bayelsa, you're not expected to live beyond that because of the intake of the hydrocarbons that they have taken in over the period of time. So that worrying trend has been something that has been very, very on the front burner. But aside from that one, I remember when the reports were actually given 2023, the first person that was taken into consideration was the president and the governor of Bayelsa State. In terms of Doyediri went to see the president and handed over the reports to him, and then the president gave him a lot of assurances, and we are looking forward to those expectations in the coming days.
Okay, so the speakers of this event included experts from the UK and other countries, and also those who reside in the region, local voices. Did the international perspective align with what communities on ground are saying, or were there some differentiations?
It is very much in alignment. In fact, it is tilting towards looking at a weak implementation of these laws that we have in Nigeria, and they're looking at it if it is actually matching the best standard that is practiced everywhere in the world. Remember how we also have issues of some years ago in Canada and in the US as well, and of course some of those aspects in the UK, in Scotland precisely. So what they are looking at is saying that if we can do ours better, let us see how Nigeria can also get their own better. So when they looked at it and they discovered that yes, these areas could have been better, and the underlying tone was actually going into looking at weaker implementations, and of course hoping that the oil companies responsible for these oil spills, whichever way you want to look at it, they are also being held accountable to the latter.
Okay, they are also being held accountable. Joseph Kunde, thank you so much for coming on the news.